Strip Club Talk with Danny and Jade, with Jade and Danny, I should say. How are you, my friends? Hi, Jade.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. We're going to talk about something a little different today. We're going to talk about discrimination. And usually, when you talk about discrimination, you're thinking about race or age or different things or gender discrimination. But we're not talking about any of that. We're talking about a form of discrimination that has absolutely no rights. And I am talking about night shift discrimination. People who work night shift, we are looked down on so bad. I mean, how long have you been in the actual bar business, Jade? If you don't want to say a number, don't worry about it. Let's just say a while.
No, I
Okay.
don't mind. I don't mind. Everybody who knows me knows anyway. Um, I'll say 13 to 15 years because I had worked at restaurants previous that
hmm
were open late.
Yeah, and I've been in the bar business since 1973, and I have experienced this. And what we're talking about today is people that work day shift that look at us like we are second class citizens.
They
Oh,
sure do.
all the things about how lazy we are and the fact that we got to be so quiet. I think one of my biggest ones is when I come home at 4 or 5 in the morning and my radio's up a little bit too loud, my neighbor gets all upset because he can hear my music, in
Mhm.
my radio. But this guy at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning can sit there and I think one of my things, my neighbor who's got a loud motorcycle. Okay, I get it. Your motorcycle's loud. Start up and go. But why do you have to sit there for 10 minutes and rev the frickin' thing over and over and over again? It's not like it's got to warm up. It's summer, folks. But anyway, you've experienced this, right?
I definitely have. And I didn't really have any stories ready at hand before we started the show today. But as soon as you said that about your neighbor, it reminded me of a time where I used to have a neighbor that played some sort of instrument, and he would be just going to town in the morning about an hour or two after I got home from work, almost at least twice a week. And it would
hmm
drive me so crazy. But then you can't call and do like a noise ordinance thing because didn't you say there's like a time frame for that?
Yeah. Every noise ordinance. I've done a couple of shows on night shift discrimination, and I have Googled noise ordinances. And I've Googled them all over the place, and every municipality has a different one. But I have never seen any that aren't marked at, 10 p.m. to 6
Right.
a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
So why do day shift people get a pass? I mean, I get a little bit of it, like there's a daylight thing and there's certain things, but
Hmm.
like neighbors with dogs. Okay. If I were to walk, I don't have a dog, but if I were to walk my dog at 4 in the morning and my dog did nothing but bark, or if I let my dog out in the backyard and did nothing but bark at 4 a.m., you know what they're going to do, right? The neighbors are going to call the police. But
Hmm.
at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., they can let their dogs out and I got to
Right.
hear it through my windows,
Yeah.
you know?
And can't complain.
Yeah. So yeah, so you get this. You got what other stories you got? What else have you thought about for people
Um,
that
well, I know there was a guy I dated several years ago, and I used to come every week to his parents' house and have we would do like a fire and cook out and things like that. And I would come at my normal time of waking up at the time, which would have been 3 o'clock or so. Every single time I would come in and I would have either like my monster or my coffee or something. Cause when you sleep and you force your body to be up the way that we do, it's like you sleep harder and you're groggy when you wake up and you still don't feel right for a few hours. So I would come in with my drink or whatever I was drinking to help me out. And they'd always just be like, oh yeah, um rolling in at 3 o'clock again, are we?
yeah,
Like I slept the same amount of time you slept last night. It's just that I was up while you were sleeping, so I gotta sleep sometime.
yeah.
I think that's the part that people don't understand.
They feel like because we sleep till 2 or 3 in the afternoon that we're lazy.
Right.
And that's the
Exactly.
part that irritates me. You go to the bank and you go to the bank at 2 in the afternoon and they go, so how's your day going so far? I said, this is my first thing. I
Got it
just woke
started.
up. Oh, must be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Must be nice. And
Yeah.
I want to be real clear here. We are not just talking about people that work in strip clubs or bars, because there are many
Right.
people that
Hmm.
work night shift. You've got medical professionals that
Oh
work
yeah.
in hospitals night shift, nurses, doctors, and everybody else that works in the
Oh yeah.
medical profession.
So many
They got to
people.
sleep till 3 in the afternoon. You want to call that surgeon who got called out in the middle of the night, for to do an emergency surgery? You want to call him lazy or her lazy?
Right. Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
mean, you've got in factory workers.
Factory
I mean,
workers, police officers,
exactly.
um, so many. I mean, almost every profession now, especially because times have changed, there is a third shift need for a lot of different types of um, career fields.
Hmm.
And I think the hard part about it, like you were saying, you're waking up, you're going to the bank at 2 o'clock. The hard part about it for third shift workers is that the rest of the world still runs on the whole 9 to 5. And you're waking up and you're groggy and you're running around getting your stuff together, and you got to go run some errands, and all the businesses are a couple hours away from closing. By the time you're getting to your last errand that you have to run for the day, you're almost out of time.
Hmm.
And then people are looking at you like you just got there late, like you had nothing to do all day and you just wanted to run in that store or wherever it may be their
Yeah.
last 15 minutes before closing.
And the other crazy thing, we just got out of that curfew, the COVID curfew. And they shut all businesses, all non-essential businesses after 10 p.m. had to close, and all that stuff. And that really, that hurt the whole bar and restaurant industry. I mean, why aren't they picking on the day shift
Mhm.
people, the lunch restaurants? Oh, no, we aren't going to pick on the lunch restaurants. That's for the
Mhm.
day shift people. They just kind of look at us like we're all non-essential because we're night shift people, but day shift
Mhm.
people, regardless of what you do during the day, you're essential. You can go get lunch at a restaurant if you want. You can go
Mhm.
have a beer if you get off at 3 in the afternoon, at some place.
Right.
But, one of the things I've always wanted to do just to piss my neighbors off, I always wanted to get a lawnmower with headlights on it. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, I wanted to go out and cut my grass just to see what they would do. Because, like, okay, so I live in a complex. I don't have to cut my grass, by the way, but if I did, I live in a condo
Mhm.
complex, but we have a landscaping company, and like they start at 8 a.m. And of course, I get it, sure, if you were to just cut the grass from 8 to 9, I'd get back to sleep and I'd be fine. But no, they have this big complex and
Mhm.
they do laps.
Right.
So they'll come by your window at 8 o'clock, and then they go around this big circle and hit the whole complex.
Oh my
So you get back
goodness.
to sleep by 8:15, and guess what? 8:20, they come by for lap number 2. And then so you get back to sleep, and then all of a sudden 9 o'clock, they're back for lap number 3. It's like,
Oh wow.
can you just cut the frickin' grass? I will say in a little bit of
So
fairness.
every 15-20 minutes, yeah.
I will say in a little bit of fairness, I called the landscaping company and told them my situation, and they started working with me a little bit, and they kind of waited into my area and waited till noon, and they cut it all at one time. So, some people are a little
Oh
more
wow.
understanding, but
Right.
I mean, it is crazy, and I don't even know that these people that work day shift have any idea how rude they are to
They
people that
really
work night
don't.
shift. Yeah.
They really don't. I myself, what was this? Almost 6 months ago now, maybe about that. Before I moved, I had a tree service company come cutting my next door neighbor's tree down. Okay. And this is like 7, 8 o'clock, right when their first tree service of the day.
Hmm.
And next thing you know, I'm looking, I hear, some things going on, and I look through my back window, and I have like a detached garage at the time. This huge truck pulls into my driveway. He just literally pulls right on in like he lives there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
Excuse my language.
that's
I look
okay.
back there, and they're getting their stuff out. Like, next thing you know, they turn on the machine. And I'm like, the guys are literally coming into my backyard and moving my things
Oh wow.
away from, because the tree was like right in between my house, my garage and theirs in the very back. So I have like a fence, a pretty tall privacy fence right there. And that's where they were getting up to.
Hmm.
They're literally moving things away from that part of my fence. I go into my backyard. I'm like, excuse me? Were you going to ask me that it was okay to come into my backyard? I could have just let my dogs out. Like,
Yeah.
you don't ever know what people are doing. And he's like, oh, my bad. My whoever supervisor was supposed to let me know. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, nobody did, and
Yeah.
meanwhile, I'm like, by the way, I'm third shift worker. And he just kind of looked at me like, I
Oh.
apologize. We'll move your things back when we're done.
Yeah, yeah, they don't care.
No,
And one of the most inconsiderate group of people are still considerate are still inconsiderate about night shift. And who I'm talking
mm-hmm.
about is telemarketers. Telemarketers will start calling your phone at 8 a.m. with their little frickin' computer voice or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell you, or tell you that you owe on a student loan from 30 years ago, or
Right,
your credit's been shut down, or it's the IRS, or your kid's been kidnapped and you've got to send money and all this other stuff, right?
right away.
But have you ever noticed that telemarketers stop about 9 p.m.?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually I used to do that for a living. I used to do collections, and there was literally like laws and things that say like they can't call after a certain time at night and on certain days of the week. It's like they don't think about like people who are working and sleeping at different times than most people.
Yeah. So I guess the point of our show is, hey, day shift people, quit looking at us like we're second class citizens, okay? Have a little respect for us. We have to have respect for you. But why aren't we protected by some kind of laws? Why is it?
Right.
I just don't understand. And I would
Mm-hmm.
love to hear your opinions out there, you guys that are listening to the show. I mean, this was kind of a rant show.
Yeah.
We got to get some
It's kind
shit
of like
off
a
our
fun rant.
chest today.
Yeah.
Pardon my French.
But hey, if anybody's watching that has that is also a third shift worker and there's anything that they know about that we don't know about, comment that down below.
Yeah, yeah, we want
Right.
to hear it and things that
But
maybe
it was
you've
a rant.
done. Have you had any luck calling the police at 10 o'clock in the morning because your neighbor's making noise? And what the police tell you?
Right.
I mean, police are night shift too, but no, they don't write the laws. They just have to enforce them.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm Danny. That's Jade. That's this particular show. However, we were talking about some upcoming shows that we want to do, and we were going to do one on the OnlyFans thing. And it's so
Sure.
funny because OnlyFans comes out with this whole thing about, hey, we're going to ban all you sex workers and stuff from our channel and blah, blah, blah. And then we were going to do a whole show on that and what that meant to, people in our industry that make, money off OnlyFans. But now they just came
Mm-hmm.
out and said, just kidding. We're okay.
Psych.
Yeah, so that kind of wiped out that show idea. But
Yeah.
on a very, very serious note, there is a topic that I would love to talk about, and that is sex trafficking, as it pertains to the strip club industry. Sex trafficking, it affects a lot of industries. It affects the hotels. It affects the cosmetology, which you're a hair, you do hair, and it affects your industry as well. So, I wanna do something on how it affects the strip club industry, and maybe we can get that on there for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, until next
Mm-hmm.
week, follow, share, like, hit all the buttons down there that are scrolling across the bottom, and we will catch up with you next time. Strip Club Talk, Jade and Danny.